Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. So, I did say that when we got that big bunch of Transcendent forms, that I was going to group them together and then make fewer videos and all. But I like this character, Satan, probably the best of all of the Transcendent forms that we just got. So I wanted to do a video for just him. And I am calling him Satan, because that is his name in the JP version. I guess that name they figured wouldn't have flown in the English version, so they renamed him Lucifer. And unfortunately, that was kind of a lack of a foresight. They took the name from the real Lucifer, the character from the Legends Hatcher with the energy circle, and renamed her Lucy, which I think is tragic. But anyway, back to Satan here. Yeah, one of my favorite characters, so we'll have a look at him in his own video. And let's look at his stats first. He is a power type, so attack is very high. Even for a power type, it's high. With the gauge, he would reach 40,000 damage, so that's pretty crazy. HP is super tank status. This is like Zeus or like Odin level. And then speed is so-so. I think anything above 250 is high for a power type. But then Lucifer is a Pierce as well. So he'll lose speed faster than most other people. And then if we look at his abilities, he's like an upgraded version of the Satan Ascension. So he stays the Pierce with a Deity Slayer and Fiend Slayer. They are upgraded to M. And then he also picks up the Gauge with a Demon Slayer and Sprite Slayer. And these are all awesome Slayers because there's lots of bosses with this kind of class. And then as for which missions Satan would be good for, I would say any mission with a boss of one of those types, or one of those classes. Alrighty, next let's look at the bump combo. The first is the, well, let's look at the defense up first. If another character hits Satan, that first character will pick up defense up, which I hear is a 25% off damage reduction, and then that lasts for 3 turns, I believe. And yeah, that works great with a power type actually, because there's no damage to be done, so it won't be lowered. And then yeah, as we get to the later, impossible quests and things, damage output will become very high. So having that 25% off will be very nice. And then the other bump combo is the Poison Spread Destruction, and he is the first one in our version to get that. And this kind of works with Satan, and it kind of doesn't. It doesn't in that his Slayers do not go into this bump combo. But it works because the damage it does is not modified by him being a power type. Usually it would be lowered for him being a power type, but not here. It's a set damage. It does 50,000 damage, and that is maybe, I think that is the highest of any poison bump combo out there now. And then it has a very good range. If you've used Cleopatra, her poison, that similar kind of range, you can almost reach the end of the screen if you're in the middle. And then, yeah, 50,000 is actually pretty good for a bump combo. If you think of a one-way laser, which is usually like 24, 25, then yeah, you can see how that would be effective. And yeah, not affected or modified by element or laser barriers or whatever. So actually a pretty good bump combo. Not too flashy, but good. And good for him, I would say. And then to go further into that, I would say that Satan, he is mostly used as just a direct attacker, and then he does the best against bosses. Pierce types, they don't usually get a lot of hits in on the little guys, but on bosses, if they go back and forth, they can get maybe like 3 hits per, left to right. So that's a lot of hits and a lot of damage. But the poison is pretty good to do some consistent damage against little guys. So he's got a little bit of everything. And then finally we'll come to his strike shot. And yes, this kind of makes the character. It's taken from the Satan Alpha Evolution form, which came out last summer, I believe, a limited time special summer event. And what it does is that it gives him, the 8 turn gives him speed up, and then null everything. So mines, warps, null gravity, gravity barriers, and warps have no effect on him. So yeah, even though he has no null abilities passive in him, he can pick them up every other turn with the strike shot. And yeah, so in that sense, he's kind of a go-anywhere monster, every other turn at least. So that's why I can recommend him to any mission where the boss is one of those 4 classes that he has a Slayer for. And then he does have a +4, a 12-turn version. This gives him speed and power up. So yeah, you'll still get a lot of utility out of the first tier. Second tier will give him more attack, so if you can wait, then that will be fine. Okay, well, let's go ahead and take him to the mission. And then we will take him to Nurarihyon, where there are gravity barriers and damage walls, and then the boss is a fiend. So Satan Alpha, or Satan Transcendent, will get the Slayer there. And then just for fun, and just because it's my one of my favorite characters, I'm going to bring all of my other Satans as well. The first one is the Satan Alpha Ascension. And, oh, let's look at the damage here first. Okay. That was basically just 2 hits in the weak point, and it did 1,000,000 damage. So yeah, I think we're already seeing how powerful this guy can be. But yeah, first character I'm using is a Satan Alpha Ascension. He is a bounce with a null damage wall and a Fiend Slayer, as it turns out, so he'll get extra damage in on the boss. The third slot I'm using is just the regular Satan, the evolution version. Pierce, null gravity barrier. And then the last one is the Satan Alpha Evolution. And he has the 8-turn null everything strike shot. And he's a bounce. Not nearly as useful as this Transcendent form, though. But still a fun character to use. Alright, let's have another look at Satan Transcendent's damage. So again, that's 2 hits in the mini-boss's weak point. About 700,000 damage. So yeah, just super high base damage, and then more if it were the class that he has a Slayer for. So yeah, if we time it right, we can use Satan Transcendent on a stage with gimmicks. Just make sure that he is acting on the turn where the gimmicks are not out. The only missions where I would not recommend Satan Transcendent is, of course, missions where he does not have any of his Slayers come into play. And then also missions where there are lots of damage walls. So like Bishamonten, for example, has 4 damage walls out pretty much all the time. So Satan Transcendent would be very difficult to use there. But here, for example, there's only 1, sometimes 2 damage walls. And those can be avoided, so he is usable here. I think mines he has a better time with. Since he is a pierce, he can kind of weave through them. So I wouldn't worry about mines too much. And then warps and gravity barriers are not that much of a problem for him. So yeah, pretty versatile. You just have to think a little bit differently while using him. Okay, let's have a look at, oh, never mind. I thought we were going to have a look at Satan Alpha's Ascension's Slayer, but we completely missed the boss. But anyway, let's try the full power strike shot. We'll get the speed and power up, and then null gravity barrier. Okay. 1.6 million damage. And yeah, for a 12-turn strike shot, that's pretty insane, if you ask me. But yeah, he is a fun character to use, and yeah, I think Pierce power types are not very popular characters, but maybe this one would change people's minds. And let's see, I'm thinking about what other quests, specifically Satan Transcendent would be good for. There's a bunch of impossible quests with deity bosses, so like Izanami, Izanagi. Tsukiyomi might be a challenge since the gravity barriers would really slow him down. Whoops. Alright, so there, we did have the damage wall up top, but we were so slowed down by all the shields and the boss that we stopped before we hit the damage wall, and then we took down the boss with a big damage. So, yeah, in certain instances, especially with the damage walls, having the slow speed or running into gravity barriers can be a kind of a technique to have. Alright, we'll use the Satan Alpha Evolution's strike shot. Go through the gravity barriers, no problem, and then set off some bump combos. Okay, and then if we were looking at the lower left, we might have seen that the bomb guy, about a quarter of his life was taken away with that poison. Whoa! Big damage there again. I used that more so that I could ignore the damage walls and gravity barriers than to do damage, but we ended up doing a lot of damage anyway. But yeah, the poison that Satan Transcendent shoots out, I think it will last 4 turns. So that's 200,000 damage in total done to people. And that's enough to take down a lot of little guys, so pretty effective, I think. Okay, last boss stage. We'll start using strike shots here, I think. So this is just a speed and power up. And then we'll see a little bit of his Slayer there. Pretty good. Okay, let's take another shot through the weak point. And actually, if you think about it in a certain way, Satan Transcendent is very easy to use because his job is pretty decided. If there is a weak point, you just go for it, basically. Okay. So, boss is nearly down. I would like to have Satan Transcendent deal kind of the killing blow. So I'm going to sort of stall here a little bit. Oh, and Satan Transcendent, he could be good for a number of floors of the Tower of Champions. And then we do have the Tower of Champions coming again soon. So I will try, definitely, to take him to a bunch of those floors. Okay, and that is that. So that was Satan Transcendent, guest starring all of his other versions. And yeah, I hope you have one. I hope you give him a try. He's different, but he is fun. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.